Trump had a pretty good track record during his first 3 years in office. His trade war did some damage. Exports suffered, but the economy did add 6.6 million jobs in those 3 years. Of course, then the pandemic hit, unemployment soared, and Trump was the first president since Herbert Hoover to leave office with fewer jobs in the country than when he came in. Now, under Biden, the economy's added more than 15 million jobs. Unemployment's been at or below 4% for the last 2.5 years. It's a record that would be the envy of almost any president, but of course, it's been marred by high inflation.
Right, and that high inflation is almost certainly the reason why we have poll after poll.
The people created inflation by spending excess money,
people have a
paying
negative
the
economic
price
outlook in
that
some polls. I
companies
saw one that
ask.
said people think the U.S. is in recession. Now, fact check, it is very much not. But according to the latest NPR PBS NewsHour Marist poll, a majority of Americans say Trump, rather than Biden, would better tackle the economy. That's 54 to 45%.
Lies.
Now, first of all, that includes a majority, a slim majority, but a majority of independents who Trump very much wants to win. It also includes 1 in 6 Democrats. Now, 1 in 6 isn't a lot, but still, to have even 1 in 6 voters cross party lines to say the other guy might do something better.
The facts
now, that is very
have
much
been
not
said.
happening.
Biden's record was
So
better.
inflation is real. There's also this perception of inflation that drives the overall perception of the economy. What is Biden's record in dealing with inflation?
Well, inflation hit a 4-decade high on Biden's watch in 2022. It has since then come down by about 2/3, but prices are still elevated. The curious thing is Trump kind of gets a pass on pandemic job losses because voters say, hey, he didn't cause the pandemic. Voters don't give Biden the same kind of pass on inflation, even though it's also at least partly the byproduct of the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. We know, though, inflation is really wearing on people. I spoke earlier this week with Ellie Currens, who lives outside Kansas City.
Every time I go to the grocery store, everything's more expensive, which is a huge bummer.
Look, we all know that inflation sucks, but you gotta thank the rich people for inflation because they're the ones that's paying the price, keeping the price of stuff elevated. So let's be real about it. You know what I'm saying? The Republicans love to spread lies, but you heard them say it. Trump's efforts in the economy sucked compared to Biden.
Absolutely.
And one thing that I'm thinking a lot about is that while we talk about inflation a lot, and the candidates do as well, understandably, there are other economic concerns people have. And while inflation is very much a day-to-day concern for a lot of people, there are a lot of voters who are thinking about longer-term and bigger picture economic concerns. For example, here's Ruth Ann Aris. She's 69. She's a retired Democrat from Pennsylvania. And here she's thinking about her retirement.
Well, I know when Trump was in office, it was sad, but my 401k was just going up and up and up. I mean, it was wonderful to watch it. But what's the trade-off?
Okay, it is true that people's 401ks went up under Trump. Have they not gone up also under Biden ultimately?
They also have gone up under Biden. Stock indexes are up markedly under Biden as well. Not quite as much as under Trump, but yes, that is true. But the big picture here is that what I'm curious about throughout this debate and the rest of the campaign season is the balance between those immediate grocery list economic concerns and also big life-defining economic questions like can you afford an education, to retire, to have a kid, to own a home, and especially when you talk to younger voters, those concerns really come up.
Well, how would Trump be any different than what they've experienced under Biden?
Well, Trump's suggestion of a blanket 10% tariff would almost certainly worsen inflation. American Action Forum, which is a conservative think tank, estimates that those tariffs would cost a typical family up to $2,300 a year. Trump's call for mass deportations would also almost certainly drive up wages and prices as well.
Come on.
Right, and along with what Scott just said, Trump is promising to cut taxes even more as president, and if he did that, he would be stimulating the economy when it's already at low unemployment, which could also overheat things and raise inflation. But a key point, as always with Trump, is that his policies are vague. They might change from one speech or news report to another.
Yeah,
so
confusion.
When
He's a liar.
to quantify how much is what will his policies do, they often have to caveat it with, well, We don't really know. We took some from this news report and this speech and that speech. So honestly, some of this is unclear.
What do
It's
the
all
candidates
unclear,
propose that
'cause
is
he's
specific that would save people money?
A charlatan.
Well, let's start with Trump. He certainly does say that he'd save people money quite a bit. One big one is gasoline prices. He likes to chant "drill, baby, drill" during his speeches, saying that he would increase U.S. oil and gas production. But
That's just hurting
U.S. crude oil
more than
production
helping.
is at about the highest level it's ever been right now. So it's not, and
'Cause they
presidents don't
greedy.
have a lot of control over gas prices. So it's unclear on how effective he could be. Now, he's also floated a new populist proposal recently in a speech in Las Vegas.
To those hotel workers and people that get tips, you're going to be very happy, because when I get to office, we are going to not charge taxes on tips, people making tips.
So a
We're
lot of
not
tips.
going to do it, and we're going to do that right away.
Yeah, there are a lot of big questions with that proposal. A lot of tipped workers, for example, don't pay income tax already, so does this help them? Also, does this apply to payroll taxes? Because if so, that affects their future Social Security payouts.
Now, I know that Biden is also talking about saving people money through what he calls getting rid of junk fees. Let's listen to a little bit of the president on that.
Junk fees may not matter to the very wealthy, but they matter to most other folks in homes like the one I grew up in, like many of you did. They add up to hundreds of dollars a month. They make it hard.
So that's Biden's pitch. Scott Horsley, in a few seconds here, there's one other thing to talk about, and that's taxes.
That's right, and this is something that Congress is going to have to tackle no matter who's in the White House next year, because a big chunk of the 2017 tax cut is set to expire.
Okay, NPR Chief Economics Correspondent Scott Horsley and NPR's Danielle Kurtzleben, thanks to you both.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, people, you heard it here first. 5-4 brought the facts right to your phone or computer, wherever you're listening to this from. So when you look at the facts between these two presidents, you heard them lay it out clear. Economically, Biden was better than Trump. The only thing Trump had over Biden was when, what did they say, the unemployment during the pandemic, he got a pass because it being the pandemic, but Biden should get a pass because the inflation was started from the pandemic. But people don't look at it that way. They don't ever look at the truth. They just view things from their emotional self. We need to stop doing that. Look at the facts. And the facts of the matter is the country was not better for working people under Trump. It was better for companies. Look at the things that he did. He made a bunch of promises the first time. How many of them did he come through on? Huh? Ask yourself that. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, guess what? Don't be Trump's fool. Why would you sit up and support someone who does not support you? He talks a good game, but he has no follow through. Come on. Google it. Search it out for yourself, and then come back and respond with a screenshot of what Trump actually did for the working man in America during his presidency. I guarantee it won't be half as much as what Biden has done. And I can't stand Biden because all of those guys are a bunch of liars. But truth be told, he is the lesser evil. So, do you want to get ahead in life? Or do you want to keep getting bent over and screwed by big business? If you love getting screwed over, vote for Trump. Because that's what they're all about. Screwing over the American people. They feel we're expendable. So you don't really get any benefit when a Republican is in office. Do the research. Google it. And ask the question, has the working America benefited from Republicans being in the presidency? See what it says. And then make your own determination, Americans. Think for yourself. Stop letting these rich people who don't pay their fair share stipulate how we should live our life. That's so anti-American. Rich people are anti-American. They don't even pay taxes. Why should we listen to what they say? Trump is a bumbling idiot who doesn't pay taxes, and he's a convicted criminal. You know what I'm saying? A criminal. I'm not gonna automatically feel an association with you because you're a criminal. How degrading is that? Come on. Saying that African Americans give Trump more props because he a felon now. No, I'm seeing him for who he really is, a crook. And he gonna try to cheat you too, just like he tried to cheat everybody else. How don't you see that? How? Hello, wake up. This is not a dream, it's real. You're losing being on Team Trump. If you for Trump, you a chump. Straight up. Get it together, America. The choice is clear and obvious. If all we had to choose from is Trump and Biden, the choice is clear. Okay? The country has become much better under Biden's presidency. We saw what Trump did under the pandemic. He couldn't handle it. He could not handle what was going on. He was not qualified, not equipped to bring us out of the situation. But guess what? Biden got us out of it. Huh? Biden got us out of it. So, yeah, the choice is clear, folks. If all we had to choose from is Trump and Biden, you gotta go with Biden if you want to have a better quality of life. Now, if you don't like having extra money to spend, if you don't like having a higher wage, getting raises on your job, if you don't look at inflation. Because what do you think Trump would have did if he had still been in office? Things were set up for inflation to happen, regardless of who was in office. But what do you think Trump would have did if he had still been president? We would be suffering even more right now. Inflation would be going up instead of down. Wake up, people. Wake up. See the truth. Trump is a liar and he cannot be trusted. He cannot be trusted. Google and respond with a screenshot of anything that Trump did during his presidency that benefited the American people. I guarantee anything that did benefit people, it was an accident. It wasn't that he was trying to do that for us. It was just a byproduct of what was done. Don't be Trump's fool. Don't be a chumper. Vote for a better America. Keep Trump out of office by any means necessary.